Got a friend in me. Yes, you got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said. Boy, you got a friend in me. Yes, you got a friend in me. Yes, you got a friend in me. Yes, you got a friend in me. You got troubles, and I got them too. There isn't anything I would not do for you. If we stick together, we can make it through. Yes, you got a friend in me. Yes, you got a friend in me. Now some of the folks may be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too. But none of them will ever love you the way that I do. Just me and you, boy. Well, as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. Yes, you've got a friend in me. Yes, you've got a friend in me. Some of the folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too. But none of them will ever love you the way that I do. Just me and you, boy. Well, as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny, 'cause you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Well, you got a friend in me. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Thank you.
Well, as if you didn't notice, the one and only Jason Goldstein is back in the house.
Good morning. Hi, everybody.
So happy to have you back.
Me too.
It's been a while.
I know.
It's been a good summer. I know you've been a little bit touring and traveling and
yes, there's been a lot of life. Yeah, it's been a busy one. It's good though. Happy to be back.
Good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to have you back. And he just forwarded to me in a text a new album you have released, correct?
Yes.
So I'll make sure you all have access to that. So good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. I honor each and every one of you that are here in the room with us in physical form, those that may be in the room existentially, and then those that are on through technology. We welcome you all. I bet you're like, what does he mean existentially? Well, whatever that means to you, that's what that means to me. So I honor you where you are just in this very moment. Jesus Ernesto Reyes, welcome to the room. And for those of you that are joining us online, let's all just know and affirm that we are exactly in the perfect and right place in this very moment to tune into the frequency of the divine and allow it to resonate and ruminate and emanate through us. And because that is happening and we tune into it, we open ourselves up on the journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening and feel the awakening as it's happening. And in so doing, ground ourselves in an awareness of being personally self-empowered. How does that sound to all of you? So how does that sound to all of you? That sounds great, Reverend Keith. Good. Cool. Well, I'd like for you all just to take a moment and say hello to each other in the room so we can anchor that energy. And well, feel free to stand up and do that if you like. You can blow kisses from afar. Let's just all anchor in the energy of hellos and namastes and feeling the presence. And for those of you joining us online, I know you're joining us from all over the United States of America. We're saying hello to each other and greeting and looking into each other's eyes. And tapping into the energy of namaste. And so I know it may feel as if you're eluded from this experience, but in truth, you're not. We're all in the oneness of life itself. And as everyone continues to say hello and namaste, I'll take a little drink of tea. Okay, so now you can go back to your seats. Hello, 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 conversations, bring it back. Okay, so coming back to the center of the room. But doesn't that feel good to do that, even though you all had already said hello when you came in, then to do that again and just connect with each other's energy? The reason that I believe that's important, and what we teach here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Los Angeles, is that we are all interconnected energetically, and that we're interconnected energetically through our minds. Albeit we may communicate with our hands, our hearts, our eyes, we are connected at mind. Uppercase M-I-N-D. In the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind, Dr. Ernest Holmes says that all that there is mind. And that you and I are called stamps of individualizations of that mind, meaning we're individualized expressions of the only thing there is. And while being individualized expressions of it, all that there is it. So as we let that ruminate through our minds for a moment, what that all comes down to is that as mental beings, it's important for us to remember, I'm going to talk about this a lot today, of how we view ourselves, what our opinion is of ourselves, and how we use our mind to think, to act, to react, to interact with life itself and every facet of life that is unfolding for us, through us, to the best of our ability. The reason that that's important is because we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law. Just like gravity is always working for us, through us, right now, it's doing that. It's keeping you in your seat, not having you float around like a helium balloon. And you're not thinking about that. You've just accepted that that is a part of the physical reality of the world that you live in. Right? Now, we don't know whether or not you might float around like a helium balloon, but it gives a good visual to keep it in perspective. The objective in our teaching is for us to get to a place individually and collectively by means of communities, as means of groups of people, as families of friends, and really from as a perspective of the evolution of humanity, to come to the realization that the law of life, meaning the law of mind, responds to our thinking, reactions, interactions, engagements with it, and brings forth experiences in our life reflective of how we know ourselves to be as divine beings, and to accept that as our second nature, just like we do with gravity. Travis Smith, everyone. A big thank you to Travis Smith. So what all of that means is, pay attention to what the hell's going on in your mind. That's what it means. Pay attention. Has anyone had an interesting week of craziness going on in the world? Yeah. Anyone had an interesting week separate from the craziness in the world? Yeah, why? Because we're all interesting beings. As long as we choose to be of interest, then we will have interesting beings, and you get to decide what that means to you. This week I've become more and more aware of the role that my mind plays and how I want to show up in life than it did the week before. Doesn't make the week before bad, doesn't make the week to come going to be better or worse. It's just that remembrance of who we are as mental creative beings, reflective of our divine energy. In our philosophy, faith, and way of life, we choose to believe that we are imbued with the qualities of the divine. They include, but are not limited to, peace and power, beauty and joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. So I invite you to take those in again and just know that as I say those words, not only do they have a frequency or radiance to them, but they bring forth something within you that is that remembrance I was just speaking of. Peace, power, beauty and joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. To anchor that awareness in, we're going to open with a ritual called Lighting the Flames of Faith. It's one that's practiced in many different philosophies around the world, and certainly in centers for spiritual living around the nation and beyond. They take place, and it's taking place in our sister center in Granada Hills, probably right at this very moment, give or take 42 seconds. And so think about that. These words, these same words are being stated just on the other side there, and that you can tune into that energy of healing as they're happening. So Jason, can we get a little background music, please? Lighting the flames of faith. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. And so this candle, as I light it, is lit for these faiths. We light it for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, that which is known as the natural way. And for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. And for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. And for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. And for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion, as well as for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. And for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. And for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and of peace. And for all forms of new thought, that which we practice here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And in so doing, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We bring all of this together and declare this candle the healing candle. We know that our words have power. As I was just speaking of the words of the qualities of the divine and this flames of faith taking place in Granada Hills and other places. And so I remind us of that because I'd like to ask you to say aloud, if it feels good or silently, the names of anyone that you would like to put into the light of this healing candle, so that they may experience in a more conscious way the healing flames of God's eternal love. Edward Brown. Becky Woods. So let's just affirm that the healing, which is a revealing of wholeness and oneness, is indeed taking place. Before we sing our song together, Calling in the Light, I'd like to close with this Buddhist prayer of forgiveness. I think of Edward Brown, who's not with us today, and we are affirming healing for him. As a minister, he stood up here one day calling out the flames of faith. And when he got to Buddhism, he said, and he looked down and he came up and he said, and we light this candle for all forms of Buddhism. And so in the field of awareness of Buddhism, let's hear these words and take it to heart. If I've ever harmed anyone in any way, either knowingly or unknowingly, through my own confusions, I ask their forgiveness. If anyone has harmed me in any way, either knowingly or unknowingly, through their own confusions, I forgive them. And if there is a situation I'm not yet ready to forgive, I forgive myself for that. For all the ways that I harm myself, negate, doubt, belittle myself, judge or be unkind to myself through my own confusions, I forgive myself. calling in the light of love. I am love, I am peace in my heart. I am free, I am spirit, I am soul. All together we are whole. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-ba-dum. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. And so it is. And so I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable and safe for you, to allow yourself to feel the transformation of energy that's taken place through this journey of ritual, of song, of receptivity, of tuning in, of the light of the piano, of the lyrics, of you and of me. And that which we feel is the holy presence of the divine energy. It's unlimited by nature, therefore we are unlimited by nature. The only thing that we allow ourselves to be limited in is our thinking, our beliefs. And so today I affirm for each one of us that a shift occurs and unfolds through us and as us, opening ourselves up to be a new expression of life, of love, of peace, of power, of joy, and of Buddhism. So it is. So it is. Mr. Goldstein.
Hey.
You know, he's never sang Calling in the Light with us before, right? You had said.
It went
He's never
pretty
done it.
well.
Well, I think he took it in and did quite a wonderful job, don't you?
Thanks, you guys. Thank you.
I love being in the presence of you, tuned into your musical nature, because it's obviously so innate to you. It's a divine flow as you twinkle up and down the keyboards. It's obvious. So.
Thank you.
So Jason is consciously, and not that he isn't always, but purposely selective of music today. And you guys are going to love this, because I know that all of us in the room are well over 30, maybe over 40, maybe a little bit over 50, right?
Yeah.
So what's the song you're going to sing for us now?
I want to sing a Burt Bacharach tune called Alfie.
Anybody in the room know Burt Bacharach?
Yeah. I hadn't heard this song until this week, funny enough, and it is a beautiful tune, so I'm going to play it for you guys. What's it all about, Alfie? Is it just for the moment we live? What's it all about when you sort it out, Alfie? Are we meant to take more than we give? Or are we meant to be kind? And if only fools are kind, Alfie, then I guess it is wise to be cruel. And if life belongs only to the strong, Alfie, What will you lend to an old golden rule? As sure as I believe there's a heaven above our feet, I know there's something much more, something even non-believers can't believe in. I believe in love, I'll feed. Without true love, we just exist. I'll feed until you find the love you've missed. You're nothing, I'll feed. When you walk, let your heart lead the way, and you'll find love any day. I'll feed. As sure as I believe, yes, there's a heaven above our feet. I know there's something much more, something even non-believers can believe in. I believe in love, I'll feed. Without true love, we just exist. I'll feed until you find the love you've missed. You're nothing, I'll feed. When you walk, let your heart lead the way, and you'll find love any day. I'll feed. I'll feed. I'll feed.
Wow.
Thank you, guys.
Mesmerizing, cowboy.
No.
Mesmerizing. What's it all about, Alfie? What an appropriate question for all of us right now, right? If we call ourselves Alfie, but we know what that means. What's life all about? In my message today, I want to begin by sharing something that popped up into my social media feed this week. And I think it's so apropos in the sense of, does anyone ever find themselves on the journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening going, WTF? Like, really? Like, where am I on this journey? And I thought I dealt with that. And oh, I'm back here. And oh, wow. Like, anybody ever find themselves in that place of returning back to being confronted or seeing something or experiencing something and thinking, that's interesting. Didn't think I'd be back there. The quote, the path, we're talking about the pathway of the journey of life itself, isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. You continually come back to things you thought you understood and see deeper truths. Anybody, does that ring true for you? That you come back to things that you thought you had understood, and then you begin to see them not only through deeper truths, yes, but through a different perspective, through a different lens, if you will. Anyone in life have stuff showing up in life? Of course, we all do. I think often of the minister who founded our community, Dr. David Walker, and he was a longtime teacher of mine, and he used to say, and he taught this to us in ministerial school, of all God's children got stuff, right? Now, you could replace that S word with something else, right? Shift, and know that what that means is that we're all going through exactly what this quote says, is that we're all on this journey of life, but the path itself isn't a straight one. And I've oftentimes taught about life is like the spiral, but I like to look at it as if you were to take a slinky and upright it, and if you look at how it's constantly moving. Will someone help Sherry get her headpiece? That as it's moving in this direction, the spiral itself, right, that we're moving on it and upwards, while at the same time we're going up, we're also coming back down. And even though it's expanding and restricting at the same time, the energy of life itself, that even though it appears we're coming back to where we were before in this expansive slinky, we're not. We're in a different place. Why? Because we're in a different place. We're in a different place in our mind, our heart, our soul, our being, because nothing can ever be replicated or duplicated, because that's unnatural to the natural course of life itself. This quote leads us perfectly into the theme for this month that we now have, which is good is happening through me. I've been sitting with this, and I mean that metaphorically, this week, as well as literally. Hello, Joe DeMeo, welcome back. With that theme of good is happening through me. Now, one of the facets of our teaching that is both quite liberating and enslaving at times is two parts of that quote. Good. How do we look at good? Well, good is a synonym for God in our philosophy, faith, and way of life. How do we look at God? An ever-evolving, hopefully, state of awareness for each and every one of us. And then the concept of it is happening through us. Because in so many philosophies and religions, and many of those by which we reference in the Flames of Faith, and even sometimes we may believe this as students of the science of mind, is that it's not happening through us, it's happening to us. But the truth is, if you believe that with every fiber of your being, then you're not in alignment with the foundations and fundamentals of our philosophy, because our philosophy is all about us being a conduit for consciousness making itself inform in life. In other words, manifesting the totality of mind itself, both collectively and individually, moving through us and presenting with us physical experiences in life that we can look at and observe, and then ascertain from our observation of those what our belief is in regards to why they're there and the power of creation that we hold as individualizations of the thing itself, and how we want to use it to co-create the next experience. As opposed to looking at it and going, what did I do to cause that? Why is it happening to me? It's not to, it's through. And the more and more that we choose to affirm that good is happening through me, you, I, the individual, the more and more it will show up in a way that we recognize it. Once again, good is a synonym for God. Last week, we began talking about stirring up within the individual, Reverend Amy Steinberg and I, in the message I presented, and inviting each and every one of us to invite in a constant journey of a reassessment, a re-identification, or an awareness, a re-awareness of what not only the word God means to us, but the power itself. And that in and of itself might be one of those things where on the path that is actually a spiral and not a straight line, we come back to it and think, I thought I had resolution around that. And yet then things show up that provides us with an opportunity to feel it differently, to see it differently. The thing to remember that no matter where we are on the journey, that the thought process cycle of spiritual awakening and tuning in to our power never changes. I've shared it with you on a slide before, but I'm going to read it off to you so that we can align ourselves as this being a foundation of what I'm going to address this morning. And that is that the way the thought process cycle works is we have a thought, which at some point that thought or the multitude of thoughts move into a belief. That belief is placed upon the creative law of life, which brings forth an effect or an experience. Then we as mental beings respond and react to that effect, that experience in life, which then gives us an opportunity again to have a thought. right? Now, not only does that cycle continue, but what's important for us is to know our mind as the cycle is unfolding. And as it's unfolding, what are we feeling and thinking about ourselves and our creative nature as it's happening? And do we get in a place where we pat ourselves on the back and get so proud of ourselves for it, or do we beat ourselves up over? Really, in other words, all about our self-talk. It's important to stay tuned into how we see ourselves on the journey without lauding or applauding or beating ourselves up, just staying tuned into what do I feel, what do I know, what am I open to? What am I feeling? What do I know? What am I open to? You know, just a moment ago, I had a moment of those experiences when we were having whatever moment I was having a moment ago, and Travis, and I think I was doing affirmative prayer, and Travis came up and had to change out the battery, right? There would have been a time in my life, and I was on a podium, if that had happened, the inside of me would be about to explode, right? Like literally would about to internally combust. Because I would be like, oh my God, that's totally screwing up the perfection that I have curated. I didn't have that reaction, because where I'm at on the journey right now in my life of realizing is all of this is the perfection that is already created, therefore I don't need to curate it. My role is to tune into it as it's unfolding, use my mind in a way to affect change in a way that is reflecting the intention and the desire, and then keep believing that good is happening through me, because if I don't choose to believe it's happening through me, guess what? It's not. Something other than good is happening through me. Why is that? Because if my state of mind isn't tuned into good, good isn't what I experience. It's a very foundational, fundamental way of looking at it, but I'm going to take it deeper. You guys know my dear friend, Reverend Dr. Jim Lockhart. I think is one of the most brilliant minds in our teaching right now. And he has a blog called the New Thought Evolutionary Blog. And his latest post was last week, and it could not be more timely in regards to anyone, and I'm not saying that disparagingly, but anyone who chooses to stay tuned in to the way you use your mind. You guys ready for it? And here's the title. And I'm going to read a lot of it to us today because I think it's important to hear it. It's titled New Thought Evolutionary Blog, Self-Talk is a Key to Spiritual Growth. You just take that in for a moment. Self-talk is a key to spiritual growth. He opens it with a quote from Lou Tice that says, if your friends talk to you the way you talk to yourself sometimes, would you keep them as friends? Right? Take that in again. If your friends talk to you the way that you talk to yourself sometimes, would you keep them as friends? Now, my question for you before I go into that, however you responded to that individually, and I'm sure all of us talk to ourselves at times in ways that we wouldn't allow others to talk to us. How did you feel about that coming up? You were like, bad metaphysician, bad metaphysician. Or you're like, oh, that's interesting. Like, oh, okay, now I'm aware of that, I can choose differently. Critical. And I gave that great little fun example because it then reinforces what he writes further. Our inner dialogue, the way we think and feel about ourselves, is a major key to our spiritual, psychological, and physical well-being. It is particularly true in challenging times when we are bombarded with negative input from the world around us. This basic truth is of critical importance to the student of New Thought. If you're a student of New Thought, meaning tuned into how you use your mind, raise your hand. Okay? I'm expecting all hands to go up, by the way. Our inner dialogue, I'm going to repeat this. Our inner dialogue, the way we think and feel about ourselves, is a major key to our spiritual, psychological, and physical well-being. It's particularly true in challenging times when we're bombarded with negative input from the world around us. This basic truth is of critical importance to the student of New Thought. We all need to wrangle the monkey mind to lower the volume and, most importantly, change the tone from negativity to affirmation, from self-doubt, even self-hatred, to self-love. Now, has anyone heard anybody espousing about lowering volume this week? All over the news. Key is, how do we respond to that? I can tell you, for me, some of it's been positive. Some of it has not been. But why is it important for you and I, as individualized expressions of divine mind, to lower the volume of our monkey mind? It's because if the premise is good is happening through me, is that which is bringing forth good, and if I don't believe good is happening through me, but to me, and that also manifests itself, then the more and more we allow our monkey mind to be out of control, for lack of a better term, the more and more then we will experience life that is reflective of the out of controlness of the monkeyness of the mind itself. Here's why that matters. Here's what Dr. Lockhart goes on to write. Most of our thinking is in patterns we've set down over time, conditioning ourselves into a track which we cannot leave without lots of conscious intention and attention. Extremely profound words. Now take that in, feeling that in regards to your own individual minds, and hear it again. Most of our thinking is in patterns we've set down over time, conditioning ourselves into a track which we cannot leave without lots of conscious intention and attention. Conscious intention. The exact same premise that Dr. David Hawkins teaches us in the Map of Consciousness. It's the same thing that we heard when we first came into this teaching of change your thinking, change your life. Right? It's also important to understand that he's not saying just intention, it's conscious intention. It's about choosing to intend to think and believe in ways that reflect our divinity, which is why you guys hear me say it every time we're together, to remember that we're imbued with the qualities of peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. I'm not saying that as a mantra, as if it was just some statement in Catholicism. I'm saying that because it's by intentionally affirming that we are those, then those are being brought forth through the field of experience in our life and will show up. Conscious intention. Conscious is the thinking part. Intention is the act. Deepak Chopra teaches us inherent within the seed of intention is the fulfillment of its desire. Therefore, when we decide to affirm and align for peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom, what happens is the seed of that being made form in our life is already in play then. And because those words, separate from every time I've said them, but everybody else has said them, they hold a vibratory energy to them, a frequency, if you will. And as we say them, the law of life responds and tunes us into that frequency, and then that's what is being made manifest through us. Therefore, circling back, it's important to affirm good is happening through me, whether you believe it or not. Because the only way to believe it is by affirming it. It doesn't happen the other way around. That's the attention part. It's pay attention to what's going on in your mind, which then has an impact on your spiritual, psychological, and physical well-being. Now, we all know that we can feel the difference when we're in tune with the frequencies of peace, power, beauty, joy, life, love, and wisdom, and when we're not. Right? We feel that in our body. Why? Because our body, both the body of life and our physical body, is a reflection of what's going on in our own mind. Well, then what do we do with all of this? We change our thinking. Is it easy? Maybe. But let's hear what Henry David Thoreau has to say about that. He says, as a single footstep will not make a path on the earth, so a single thought will not make a pathway in the mind. To make a deep physical path, we walk again and again and again. Going back to what long ago, peace, power, beauty, get it? That's the again and again and again part that Thoreau talks about. To make a deep mental path, we must think over and over the kind of thoughts we wish to dominate our lives, that we wish to dominate our lives. Dr. Lockhart goes deeper. He says that when we say thoughts are things, we mean that our thoughts accumulate to build beliefs. Now remember the thought process cycle. Thought, beliefs, law, right? Experience, reaction, thought, beliefs, law, effect, reaction. The cycle is always happening through you, not to you. Got it? Now, with that in mind, when we say thoughts are things, we mean that our thoughts accumulate to build beliefs. Thoughts, I love this line. It was such a ah for me when I read it. Thoughts are three-dimensional. Words, images, and emotions. Brilliant, right? Dr. Lockhart. Never been broken down this way before in metaphysics as far as I know. Thoughts are three-dimensional. Just going to go somewhere, but I'm not. I'm going to bring it back in. Thoughts are three-dimensional. Words, images, and emotions. And it's the accumulation of patterns of thinking which build subconscious beliefs. Thoughts, beliefs, law. With me so far? All right. It's the accumulation of patterns, right, of thinking which builds subconscious beliefs. These beliefs then act as scripts which we accept as true and influence, even dictate, how we think and feel subsequently in relation to the beliefs. How we think and feel, the reaction that we have to the beliefs when they've moved through the law and show up as effect. You with me? Say yes. A stray thought does not do this. Important to know that. A stray, you might think that was been what I would have just had when I'm like, say yes, a stray thought. It was a little stray, but it was also purposeful, conscious, and intentional. A stray thought does not do this unless there is tremendous emotion attached to it. For example, you find out a friend has died suddenly, or that you've won the lottery, right? Anybody wanted to win the lottery of late? Say yes, yes. In such cases, beliefs can be formed by that single three-dimensional thought. Words, images, and emotions, right? And I think it's important for us to start tuning into that as a thought process. Words, that's the methodology by which we communicate, words, right? Images, we all are image-based beings. We not only see before us what we're experiencing in life, which by the way is after the fact, so to speak, but also image of how we hold ourselves to be and what we have images oftentimes of what the words mean, and then the emotions, which is a part of our psyche that is developed over time based on experience and emotion relative to aspects of like love and sadness, right? Keep going with that. And then also emotions of that being fueled by its divine energy that's behind it. In such cases, beliefs can be formed by that single three-dimensional thought, which will tend to be automatically reinforced by subsequent thoughts arising out of the beliefs formed by it. A lot of information. You guys with me? Good. Now, he goes on to tell us, the beliefs we form in our subconscious can cause physical changes. Now take that in. The beliefs, now we're talking about the subconscious mind. We've gone from thoughts, monkey mind, all of that, into beliefs, down in a subconscious mind, which is where the beliefs are, which is what the law responds to. It doesn't respond to our monkey mind, by the way, right? The beliefs we form in our subconscious can cause physical changes such as healing and even our DNA to be altered by deeply held beliefs. It's important to remember that negative beliefs will affect us negatively and positive beliefs will affect us positively. Now I want to stop here for a second. Make sure that you understand that when he's speaking of negative and positive, which aren't words I typically like to use, it's important to stay tuned into these because he's not saying that when you think, I think negatively, that which is not reflective of our divine nature. It's what Dr. Hawkins talks about being as destructive energy in consciousness, that it shows up in form, not because there's a power outside of us that's like bad metaphysician, you thought negatively, then I'm going to give you a negative experience. It's because the law of life responds through us by providing corresponding experiences that reflect the totality of our belief systems. Hence, negative equals negative, positive equals positive. Yeah, there we go. I like it. So that's the start. So all good where we're at? He goes on to say, then, what are we here to do? Marie Russell addresses it this way. We're all cases of self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever we prophesize or believe about ourselves will come true. Take that in. We are all cases of self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever we prophesize or believe about ourselves will come true. This is why it's very important to pay attention. Did you hear that word earlier? Why it's important to pay attention to our thoughts, to make sure we don't let them go on and on and on unattended. Our thoughts are like misbehaved children. We need to pay attention to them. Start listening to your self-talk. Pay attention to what you are inwardly telling yourself day after day. Then, if what you hear isn't prophesizing the results you want, then you can choose to change what you tell yourself. Today, it's my invitation for each of us to invite in to our own awareness an intention and attention to new spiritual practices. And I'm not necessarily speaking of spiritual mind treatment, although I think it's important to do affirmative prayer daily and even meditation. But the basic, fundamental, foundational component of paying attention to what you are thinking. And then to pay attention to what you are thinking. Make it your goal today to become a trained mind. A mind that asks itself, what's it all about, Alfie? Metaphor, and yet not. To ask yourself, Alfie, let's in this sense believe that Alfie's the name for God. What's it all about, Alfie? And Alfie goes, open your heart and I will show you. Well, what does that mean, right? It means open your heart and I will show you. Well, what does that mean? Well, heart, right, is the symbol of love, right? And Holmes tells us that love is the self-givingness of spirit whose desire is to create more of itself out of itself, right? A self-fulfilling prophecy, if we know ourselves to be love, right? And where does love reside? In the heart, right? Well, what is a place, what resides in our heart? Well, courage does, if we open up to that, because the word courage comes from the Latin word courage, which means to live from the heart. So then you and I on this journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, if we're open to setting the intention and to have the attention, to pay attention to our thinking, then it's important to do that with love for the self, to have the courage to move beyond critical negative self-talk without beating ourselves up, to being open to talk that's more reflective of our divine nature and believe that the heart is the gateway to access that because the law of life is going to respond to us no matter what, then to choose to know ourselves as love and as peace and as power and the others. And then when we begin to think in ways where we're not sure that that is our reality, to stop and ask ourselves, yo, Alfie, what's up? Alfie can say, open your heart, and I will tell you. Open your heart, and I will tell you. I'm sure for you, much like for me, the journey of my everyday practice, day by day and thought by thought and action by action and reaction by reaction, is at times confused because it seems that the external world is a bit chaotic and certainly not based in love. And yet, that's just a momentary viewpoint of what's unfolding, because there's always other things unfolding. And then if I want to experience more of that which is reflective of my divine nature, I can't sit back and wait for it to show up. I, the individualized expression of the only thing there is provided with the opportunity to then tune in to my spiritual truth, to open my heart, move to self-talk in ways that are constructive or positive, remembering that we live in a process called the thought process cycle, which is thoughts and then beliefs and then the law and then the effect, and then I react to that, and then that's a thought, which then is moved into my beliefs, and then the law shows up and it provides an effect, and then I observe that effect, and then I respond to that. And all of that is happening. And what is the common denominator in all of that? You, me, mind, heart, energy, choice. That's what it all comes down to. Did you hear the words judgment? Mm-mm. Discernment? Maybe, right? But it's you, me, and it's how we use our mind. That's what Dr. Lockhart is telling us in all of this, is to begin to tune into how we think, how we believe, how we speak, how we act, how we react, how we interact, and to have that be reflective of our divine nature. The great old school metaphysician Neville Goddard tells us this: your reality is built by your state of consciousness. Whatever state you consistently dwell in becomes the filter in which you see the world, and more importantly, the mold that life uses to form your experience. To form your experience. We started off this by being told the path isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. You continually come back to things you thought you understood and see deeper truths. Now let's let this be an example of just simply the quote itself. We're now coming back to this quote that we listened to 26.2 minutes ago. Right? And are you hearing it differently? Are you perceiving it with a deeper truth? The answer may be yes. The answer may be no. The truth is, neither one is right or wrong. The key is, are you willing to ask the question? Are you willing to stay tuned in? Are you willing to use your mind in a way to be open to feeling that deeper truth, to allowing it to rise up and make itself known the only way it can, through you? Why is that? Because good is happening through you, and so it is. Jason's going to come back and express some good.
And floors of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and leather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in the way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down. It still somehow is cloud illusions. I recall that I really don't know cloud at all. And Junes and Ferris wheels, that dizzy dancing way you feel in every becomes real. I've looked at clouds that way, but now it's just another show. You leave them laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Just give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love illusions I recall, that I really don't know love at all. Use tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud, and dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at clouds that way, but now old friends, they're acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed, but something's lost and something's gained in living every day. I look to life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall, that I really don't know life. 'Cause I look to life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life illusions I recall, and I really don't know life at all. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I love your appreciation for music of the 70s, 60s and 70s, right? Yeah, Joni Mitchell, right? And she's still out there.
Yeah.
You know? She was on stage with Cyndi Lauper a couple of weeks ago.
She was.
At the Hollywood Bowl.
Crazy.
Yeah. You know, I was going to say, you go, girl.
Yeah.
But, it came through, so. It's Sunday morning, everybody. How you guys doing, right? Can feel fall in the air, right? It's as reflective in the colors of the flora and the outfits and the hats, and I guess I'm not ready for summer to be over, but I guess we're moving in that direction, because life is always moving, right? Always doing, hey, what's up, Alfie? Summer's over, girl. That's what. So my intention today has been for all of us to just be open to using our minds in new ways, and to be deeply appreciative of where we're at on the journey. I can assure you that no matter what unfolds from this moment forward, there will be things that show up and you're like, huh, really? And then there are going to be things that are going to show up and you're like, oh, really? Okay? But the key is to just stay open to the best of our ability, to not judge, and to use mind with intention, consciously, and attention. It's my intention to say thank you to all of you for being here today. A big thank you to Jason for bringing his wisdom and his brilliance and power with us. To Travis for all that he provides for us. Travis, aha, yahoo, thank you. And to Robert online, and to Scott, and to Javi, and our security guy in the back. This is also time in our service to provide financial support for our communities. In just a moment, Sandy's going to pass a beautifully woven basket that will provide us an opportunity to support our community financially, as well as we use technology. You can go online to our website, CSL-LA.org, and click donate, or use the app in the App Store. Our Dr. Walker, our founding minister, I spoke of him just a moment ago, and he used to always say to us, one cannot give with a clenched fist. And what he means by that is that as we open our hands and give consciously, whatever it is we're willing to give, that we open it, and that opens the gateway, the energy that moves back to our heart. And so our heart has been symbolic today of that, where I desire for all of us to live, remembering that is where courage exists. I noticed this morning on our Buddha, where Buddhism lives, is here with a little heart around his neck. And so let's all let that be the place from which we choose to give. And as Sandy stands and gets ready to pass that, let's all close your eyes, it feels good, and affirm this together. Today I choose to give with an open heart, to let love be my foundation. And it's from this state of mind, I tune into the abundance of the universe and give purposefully and intentionally, knowing it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Jason's going to take us through a conscious giving song.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit gives to us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through us. Spirit lives and breathes through us.
Let you know that there are flour and sugar products awaiting you outside, along with coffee and water and maybe some tea, so avail yourself of that and continue to say hello and stay in community after our service. I want to remind you that you can access information about who we are through our website, CSL-LA.org, or the app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living. Also, we're on all social media sites. You can access past Sunday services through YouTube. We're also on Facebook, as well as each and every morning at 7:30 a.m. A new thought for the day goes out through text, and so I hope that you're receiving those and availing those in your life, and they're helping you frame your mind and how you use it throughout the day. Feel free to pass along that to those in your lives as well. As we have an e-newsletter that goes out on Mondays, and on Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. we have a midweek morning meditation that you can join. All that information is through all of our different links and social media sites and e-newsletters. So, you're welcome. Thank you. We'll be online the next few Sundays and back in person the second Sunday of October. All right? So I invite you to close your eyes if that feels good for you and safe. And before we stand and sing the peace song, let's just feel the presence of the energy of transformation from today. We sang the song, Calling in the Light, where we affirmed, I am peace, I am light, I am love. We lit the candle honoring the flames of faith, affirmed names of healing, tuned into the frequencies of the flames of faith being done in other centers. And it's all brought us to this very moment. And so in your mind's eye, remembering that imagery is one part of the thought process. Words, images, emotions. I invite you to see in your mind's eye, in the back of your eyelids, the flickering flame that you've seen on this candle, on this table today, as the candle. And as you begin to see it on the back of your eyelids, that place we call the optic screen, as it's been extinguished on the table, it is now ignited within your psyche and your soul. It's the light. It's always been there, but it's there for you to call upon it as you begin to navigate the week before you, the next moment and the next moment and the next. As we each invite in spiritual awakenings on this journey of finding personal self-empowerment, let's remember that not all and every spiritual awakening will look like light. Some might be grief or silence or walking away. But the light's always there. It's always there. And your role and my role is to see it, to feel it, to affirm it, to appreciate it, to resonate with it, and then to give it back. It's there, ready to illuminate the pathway before you. The path that we learned is not a straight line, it's a spiral. And so as we circle back to tune in to truths or thoughts that we thought had been resolved, we make sure that we see them anew through the lens of the light that is there. It guides us, sustains us, directs us, and protects us. That is truth. As we inhale together and exhale, just releasing, inhaling again. This time as we exhale, we open our eyes, feeling secure and confident and ready, if it's so comfortable, to stand and sing the song, Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joy and sorrow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so it is. Go be the light.